time when I don't feel like going home is when you stick around and hold me warm. I just wanna be with you, even if you don't want to.
Happy Friday, everybody, and welcome back to Carthage Firebirds. Tonight's Smash Ultimate games are going to be phenomenal. I'm always excited to do this. Last week being such a great time, and week 2, followed by the coming weeks, is just going to be an overall phenomenal time. I'm your host, The Bearded Man, and I'm joined by Bunny. How you doing, Bunny?
I'm feeling great today. How are you?
I'm okay. You know, last night's Overwatch game still coming off of that. Overwatch and R6 just having some for lack of a better phrasing, mind-blowing events. Just overall comeback story after comeback story, and it's always great to see. But I'm hoping and expecting that this is going to be a little bit of a change of pace. I'm confident in all of our players. I'm expecting some great matchups here. But right away, we are seeing Game 1, Space Food against North Central Technical College. And ultimately, I think Samus versus Wolf. Space Food, of course, for the Firebirds on that Samus. Right off the bat, taking a lot of damage. Trying to go off the cliff and kind of, cause some chaos, but it is not working out, and that is not going to work out for them at all. Falling and losing one of those lives. Now it is 3 lives, 3 stock, as they say in Smash, meaning if you die 3 times, you're out. It's the first person to lose all 3 of those lives, and Space Food, unfortunately, right away is now knocked down to 2. NTC, though, taking a few hits there from Samus. Now, what do you think of this Samus versus Wolf matchup?
I like the matchup. Definitely 2 very great characters. I think that they're giving each other a lot of space right now, but it's starting to get more aggressive.
Yeah, we do see Space Food kind of taking it slowly and methodically, and it seems to be working out on this next stock of his, because it's just very much taking that space. Now we are going to see that deflect coming off of Wolf onto Samus, but fortunately Samus using that shield to block it is going to work out in their favor. Space Food, though, still at a ton of taking a lot of damage on this life, so really gonna have to make up some time and space. But that parry, that was beautiful to see. Beautiful to see a parry like that. But once again, Space Food jumping off the side, barely coming back, very close to causing some issues and falling off again, but is doing more and more damage, using that little bit of a bomb drop, almost hitting NTC, scaring them slightly, causing them to fall into the abyss and lose that next stock. Now Space Food, though, having 2 stock and at 140%, having a ton of damage there. And honestly, NTC has to get 1 really good hit, and suddenly Space Food is out. As I say that is exactly what happened. Space Food now on the last stock of this match. What do you think? What do you think they need to do right now to change it up and hopefully come back from this definite loss?
There's a lot of edge guarding play. We've seen Space Food get close a few times. I would probably like to see some more action on the stage, as we're seeing a bit now. But definitely holding the ground, especially near the edge. Yeah.
I mean, those bomb drops definitely going to cause some issues for NTC if they don't try and properly dodge them. And we are seeing some really good maneuvering there from NTC there. But Space Food just not able to come back. Is not able to do enough damage. And I think it's really coming down to some of these shield, the deflects and the shield usage. I mean, we're seeing just really good timing overall for both people. But it looks like NTC just having it down slightly, just a little bit more, causing to just kind of soak up a lot of that damage.
Yeah, definitely taking advantage of the timing and the shield usage a bit more.
And like that, though, 1 amazing hit from Space Food, tying it up just slightly, still very close to death. But if Space Food can pull off a really good trick and continue to do a ton of damage to NTC, could come back from nothing. 1-to-1 stock, a lot could happen. But because the jumping off the side is just so risky, and unfortunately there we are. Round 1, I should say, is going to go to NTC, but Space Food bringing it back kind of last second there. I was excited to see that, though. I was really happy, showing that definitely having the ability to come back, and I'm expecting to see that. Some probably slight changes in the next rounds. What did you think?
Yeah, our Firebirds don't give up. I think a lot of it came down to just the other team, NTC's attacks and the timing on those, and definitely the edge guarding play we saw at the beginning with Space Food falling off. Just kind of an early disadvantage, so not really too much fault there. But they both did really well.
Yeah, I mean, I was really happy to see that. Now it does look like Space Food is going to be changing it up to an undisclosed person that I will reveal very shortly, because we don't want any sort of hints coming out there onto the airwaves. But I'm excited, and I think spicing it up here is going to definitely catch both players off guard, and I'm sure NTC is going to do the same. I would not be surprised. I think last week we saw a lot of the players sticking with it over and over again, and sometimes if it's not working, it doesn't hurt to switch.
Exactly.
You know, it means you're on an even playing ground. There's no info being traded because you're starting from scratch, and so is the other person. But I am excited to see what NTC is going to do against this matchup here. Space Food, though, I think has the potential. We did see that comeback in the last round. But what are you excited for this next round? What do you think Space Food is going to be able to do to really change it up? What did you think the play style was needed to be?
I think that they were playing a lot of space between each other especially at the beginning. So I think switching it up with the character here and causing some more of those fast-paced battles might change it up a little bit and give Space Food the advantage here.
Yeah. But I do see here soundtrack might have the soundtrack advantage here, spicing it up just slightly.
The
soundtrack I think is underrated. I was listening to out there before the cast, hearing what they were playing on their screens while they were practicing, and some good music in this game. In all honesty, I think compiling some of the most legendary gaming soundtracks of all time into a fighting game definitely pays off.
It's very iconic. I would agree.
But I think I'm curious. I don't know if I asked you this last week. I know I asked the variation of it. What is, not even just Nintendo, because I think last week I asked Nintendo, overall best gaming soundtrack ever. What do you think?
You can't ask me that.
I know. I don't think you came up with an answer for the Nintendo, so it's a difficult question. But we can see in round 2, though, we'll save that answer for after this round. But round 2, Space Food is going to be moving on to Ness, whereas NTC sticking with Wolf. I think this is a really good matchup, really good decision, really good pick for Space Food.
I love the Ness pick.
Oh yeah,
sure.
I think Ness is just a classic.
Yes.
From the beginning, makes me really want to play the Earthbound series. In all honesty. So I'm excited to see now Space Food, though, unfortunately taking a ton of health and immediately getting knocked off of the map. It's always horrifying to see like a humanoid wolf punching a little child off of a floating platform surrounded by nothing but floating islands and water. Logically, that makes sense, though. In this game, that's what happens. You get some interesting situations, but none as interesting as, I don't know, like Rihanna during the halftime show playing this game.
Yes.
I was excited to see, but ultimately, I think, the backup dancers picking an interesting decision, against Rihanna of all people.
Real.
Marshmallows against Rihanna. Who do you think would win that matchup?
Oh, Riri takes it all.
Definitely. I mean, that was very clear. But who do you think would win, Rihanna or Mario?
I'm taking Riri.
I think that's a good choice. But here we did see Space Food taking yet another stock off of NTC, still at quite a lot of damage taken, but is evening the playing ground just ever so slightly more. I think ultimately we are seeing a definite improvement on Ness, able to dish out a lot more damage in quick succession, able to do a mixture of close quarters and distant ranged attacks, and that beautiful fly up back into the arena, putting a little bit more damage into NTC. Not enough to do anything drastic, but enough to kind of just cause some issues there. However, Space Food still being very, very close to a one-hit knockout. Just NTC needs to get one really good hit into Space Food, and it's just game over there. And as I say that, once again, Space Food is taken out onto their last stock, their last life for this round. NTC still at 2, but having a lot of damage as well, and it might work out for Space Food, able to maybe even this out very shortly. We're seeing, and there we go, exactly as I predicted. Evening it out. This is a very close match. Right now, it's pretty much an even playing ground. We could see Space Food basically evening out the damage taken already on this last stock. It's like just the first barrage of attacks there, and already having a great time. I'm excited to see these next few seconds of how that goes, because you can see both players are playing a little bit slower, a little bit more methodical. But Space Food is able to do a lot more burst damage, a lot of damage in a very quick succession, quick moment. And that, I think, is what NECC really excels at, especially the diversity of abilities. You know, the different attacks. You can do PK Thunder, you can do PK Fire, you can do PK... I forget the other one. I think there's only PK Fire and PK... Because I think the other one was Lucas. I was going to say PK Ice, but
I think you're right. Let's go with it.
Yeah, we'll say that. But I'm excited to see what Space Food's going to do in these next few seconds. You know, kind of playing the side of it, though, and not getting that PK Thunder. I think that is something we've seen from Space Food last week and this week that just kind of causes issues, is playing out and off the stage.
Yeah.
And he has been able to come back and get back onto the platform with a decent amount of success.
Yeah,
I'd say like 60, 70% success, but it's that 30% that just you cannot risk.
Right. It's not always a bad tactic, but when you're playing against a character who can just get those big hits that do like heavy damage quickly and you're just able to edge guard, it's hard to get out of that situation.
Yes, but definitely we did see Space Food switching to Ness definitely was the move.
Yeah, definitely the better matchup with those quick moves.
Yeah, really quick moves, a lot of really good burst damage, a lot of versatility. Ultimately, I'm excited to see how we go. We could see Space Food come back. Unfortunately, though, 2-0 in the series as of now. It is best of 5, though, so NTC is in match point. We have seen players from Carthage time and time again come back from left, so
You can do it.
I'm excited to see what Space Food decides to pull out of his magic pocket of possibilities,
It's true.
as we'll say. You know, it'll make it interesting. It'll keep up the trend of how the Rainbow Six game of this week and the Overwatch game of this week were just very much a comeback of that a lot of people weren't expecting, but it just made it ever so sweet. But round 3 here, Ness and Wolf once again, no swaps there. I'm excited to see Space Food come back and hopefully take this round.
With Ness again.
Definitely. I like the skin too.
I do. I love it.
Now there's something about the classic Ness skin, the classic color scheme,
Yep.
that I do enjoy. You know, you can't complain about that.
But I love that Smash makes it customizable. That's,
yeah.
That's a fun element.
Now I just learned about this one fighting game online called Framemakers, which apparently allows for like a lot of really good customization to the point where people are adding in like assist. Like in this game, they have assist trophies, meaning you have a little bit of ability that summons some other character that provides you help in some way. And in this one, people are adding in like really funny ones. Like there was one I saw, it was a scene from Drake and Josh driving a car. I think it was the scene where they hit Oprah. And it was in this fighting game. And I like that. But coming back to Smash, Space Food and NTC already back, tied on that 2 stock remaining. Now Space Food taking more and more damage. Will he be able to come back? He is able to grab back onto that platform, but he needs to kind of dish a lot more damage into NTC to, you know, kind of even it out much more. But we did see that last round, so I'm excited to see what he's able to pull out. PK Fire going out, doing some decent amount of damage there. Hard to block. We do see, I mean, as I was saying earlier, we're seeing some really good shield play here. We didn't really see that, I don't think, last week. So that's always something. It's really hard to time that. Unfortunately, though, Space Food not able to block that with his shield and is getting knocked out onto that last life. 1 life to go for Space Food. What do you think is going on inside of his mind right now?
I think maybe he's realizing that the edge plays aren't working anymore. You know, he's putting up a fight, but NTC is just getting those hits over and over again.
But I'm confident. You know, we do see Space Food able to put more and more damage into NTC slowly but surely, while also blocking more and more attacks being dished out. So this is, I mean, it's once again one really good hit away from knocking NTC off and out of the game. And as I say that, knocking him out, will it be enough to cause the down? It's not, but just more and more damage being dished out. So close, and there we go. It is now 1-1 in lives remaining. Will Space Food come back and take out NTC, gaining this round into their arsenal repertoire? I don't know the term.
I think that's the right word for you.
Putting it on their resume, basically. But I mean, I'm seeing a lot of improvement here from Space Food from like last week.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the nest pick already. That is something that's really key. Is, you know, if something is not working, you need to change it. But nest we saw was definitely working. It was those small mistakes, unfortunately, that the past few rounds that were causing issues. As I say that, Space Food knocked out of the fight 3-0. Unfortunately, Space Food is not walking away tonight with a round, but has had all of those past two matches. Round 1 was a little bit iffy, but rounds 2 and 3 very close. What did you think?
It was close all around. I think Space Food just ended up playing a bit more passive and was able to get those good combos and quick hits off, but unfortunately just was not doing as much damage to get those final kills.
Yeah, but definitely an improvement from last week, and definitely an improvement just from round 1. You know, we saw a dramatic improvement moving on to round 2. So definitely it's those small things at that point, you know, the maybe don't jump off the cliff this one time. But, I mean, sometimes it works, and we did see him being able to recover from those time and time again. So hopefully we're going to see more success. We are not done tonight. We'll be back in just a few minutes with our next matchup, so don't go anywhere, and we will see you very shortly. Welcome back, everybody, for round 2 or match number 2 of tonight. Your Carthage Firebirds Smash Ultimate Teams game 1 was Space Food against North Central Tech. Unfortunately, Space Food struggling a bit there on round 1, but coming back in rounds 2 and 3. Unfortunately, just not enough. So close to coming back and gaining those 2 rounds. Unfortunately, though, going 3-0 tonight. NTC putting up a really good fight, but Space Food, I think there's no shame in coming back from like a 2-1 deficit in stocks, and then just both of those rounds 2 and 3, having next to no advantage, and then coming back, evening the odds, and unfortunately missing by just a small margin. But hopefully we're going to see some wins for Raymond the GOAT in game 2. I'm your host, the Bearded Man, and I'm joined by Bunny. How you been?
I've been doing pretty good. How you been doing, the Bearded Man?
Can't complain. You know, it's Friday. I'm excited. Excited for the weekend. Excited to, relax a bit. Enjoy the break I get, the short break. But I'm especially excited to see Raymond the GOAT's performance, you know.
I am too. Raymond has proven to be the GOAT on multiple occasions. So
I think definitely Raymond's the GOAT, but I'm excited for JR later tonight. I mean, we saw last week a game that I don't think I would ever experience. Knocking out and winning just without any sort of attacks onto them. I'm excited to see how that goes later tonight. I believe that game's tonight. I'm not quite sure who we have in store, but Raymond the GOAT, though, overall, a great player. What did you think last week he did really well on?
Last week.
He played Cloud. It was game 1.
Was it a sweep?
It was I believe it was a sweep. Playing Cloud and then switching to Ike for 2, and I believe it was Ike for game 3 as well. Definitely the switch up I was expecting. But I'm excited to see what he has in store. I think might be a little bit different this week, might be a little bit more of a lead, but we are going into round 1. Raymond the GOAT against Pod, Mithra, and Pyra. Definitely an interesting duo. I think having somebody like this, two melee fighters, I think is the term. We're going to see some interesting things. We do see kind of them baiting each other out, making sure, or not wanting to be the first one to kind of make the move, and Raymond already getting one of those sword swipes onto Pod, and it's working out. Raymond the GOAT, kind of, this is very, okay. I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure what to have. Oh, I am getting word that this is a ping test. So that was not it. That was just a tease, you know, them making sure that their connection
a little warm up.
A little bit of a warm up there, making sure that it's all set up. I was very confused.
I was like, they're really not attacking each other, are they?
And I was like, maybe are they going to try and make this a 1 stock to 1 stock? And then they both fell at that last time. I'm like, okay, something just happened. But here is the actual round 1, Cloud and Mithra Pyra. I'm excited. I'm hoping. I'm putting my money on Raymond the GOAT. You know, we did see an excellent performance from him last week. But I don't know anything about Pod. You know, he might be pulling some tricks that I was not expecting, that Raymond the GOAT was not expecting. combos there, and I think that's something Raymond the Goat might be lacking. Unfortunate. Oh, is able to get back into the fight, just barely able to. Very close to missing that. Unfortunately, is knocked out, and the life is off of his life pool. 2 lives to go for him in the Goat. I'm hoping we see something come back, because this is it'll be a very unfortunate set of matches if he can't get one out, get one off the board. But who knows? Great combo there from Pod onto Raymond the Goat. Good flurry of attacks there. Raymond the Goat, we do see, I mean, he's playing a lot more. He's creating a lot of space. It's not a instant, I'm going to keep attacking you close quarters. He'll attack and then back up, attack and back up.
Yeah.
And you're seeing these vertical plays here, knocking Pod up in the air and knocking them back down to the floor. It is doing a lot of damage. That might be the move there. Pod falling off of the map, but just able to come back, getting that little bit of a frame, that window to grab the ledge, and is back in the fight, causing some issues for Raymond the Goat as we speak. Now, there's a lot of time here. So, that's the thing, is the clock does exist in this game. It's not played often, but it will definitely be a factor here. You can kind of stall it out. It's a lot of time to stall for, but, ultimately that might work. Unfortunately, Raymond the Goat, though, knocked to his last life. I'm hoping to see at least one stock taken off the board for Raymond the Goat. I'm really hoping that he's able to get at least one here.
He's definitely capable.
He's definitely capable, but I think, I don't know, something about this isn't working. I mean, Pod is a phenomenal player, so it's very clear. I can't argue with that, so I'm not surprised. I'm surprised that, as I say that, Raymond the Goat taking off the board, finding that window and using it. I think we might be seeing a slight change up here in play style for Raymond the Goat here, making sure to just kind of, once again, play that range. Unfortunately, though, Pod getting that really good critical hit and knocking Raymond the Goat off of the board one last time for the win of round 2. Going into game 3, it is match point for Pod, 2-0 in this series. What do you think is going through Raymond the Goat's mind?
I think we might possibly see a character switch up here. I think a lot of that battle had to do with the melee on melee, especially timing. When you're timing your attacks, I think that definitely became something that was very important. Pod also, forgive me, I don't know the name of the attack, the fire wheel attack, doing some crazy damage in a short amount of time, and that's hard to escape, and especially using that play, getting hits on after recovering from the edge, that's big. That's huge.
And I mean, I'm just also shocked that we didn't see a switch there from round 2, because after such a large margin of defeat there from round 1, I'm not surprised. We did see a little less of a margin. Definitely was closer, but hopefully in round 3, we do see Raymond the Goat switching to Ike. Pod still remaining on Mithropyra, so maybe this is the advantage Raymond the Goat wants. Maybe this is the advantage he needs.
Yeah, we saw the Ike last week as well.
We did, and it was a beautiful sight to see indeed. Now, Raymond the Goat able to dish out a lot more damage right off the bat. Unfortunately, is going to also experience a lot of that damage. So we are also going to be experiencing another back and forth game, I think. But we are seeing already just dishing out a lot heavier attacks. It's not as fast, but it's a lot heavier, a lot stronger, which that is the age-old question. Would you want strength or do you want speed? But Raymond the Goat is knocked off the board right away. 2 stocks left for Raymond the Goat. Hopefully, again, I'm hoping we see a little bit more stocks taken off for Pod. What do you think?
Pod's getting some good combos right now. They're still playing pretty evenly, just Raymond getting a good high heavy hit there.
Yeah, I'm surprised there we didn't see Raymond the Goat try and attack, do what's called a down B, attacking Pod while they're hanging there. It's definitely not an easy thing. You got to kind of you got to aim it properly, you got to time it perfectly. But it doesn't really look like that Raymond the Goat is trying that. We did see Raymond the Goat using that up B though, which knocks Pod up into the air and brings them right back down with a ton of damage. But it wasn't enough. We're still seeing more and more damage being dished out, and I think he's just kind of scrambling here almost. Definitely, I think Ike was the good choice. We are seeing a little bit of better play here. But just something about Myth or Pyra, I think having that balance between attack and damage is working out. But we did finally see Raven the Goat taking a stock off of Pod's pool, allowing them to kind of even it out here 2-2. Raven the Goat, though, still a lot of damage on this life taken. I'm not quite sure what to expect here. But we are seeing more and more shield usage.
Yeah, for sure. We've seen a lot from Pod. Honestly, great timing on a lot of those, getting advantages on the next hits with the timing.
Yeah. It's just very much a back and forth. We do see Pod, though, playing a lot more defensively. Not going for all these flurry of attacks right off the bat, taking their time between attacks and it's pacing it out, waiting for Raven the Goat to use that shield.
Mm-hmm.
And for those viewers at home, there's a slight delay in that shield usage, the cooldown, if you will. So it definitely, if you time it, you can time it really well and it works out for you. It's all about baiting out that shield before you do any sort of attack. And we did finally see Raven the Goat try and do that ground attack if Pod were to jump up. Unfortunately, though, not able to land it, hitting it a little bit too early. Pod being a lot more careful with that, making sure not to rush anything. And ultimately, it looks like it is working out for Pod's in Pod's favor. But still some, time to be played here. Definitely could work out well. We could see Raymond the Goat pull some tricks out of his sleeves. Pod just barely able to make it back into the arena to fight, and unfortunately Pod getting a critical hit on Raymond the Goat, knocking Raymond the Goat out of this match, unfortunately ending our series for tonight 3-0 once again. Firebirds, something about tonight, I don't know if it's the weather or something. I think it might just be good opponents as well.
Yeah, definitely some phenomenal opponents. You definitely can't disagree that they were great players.
Yeah. But I'm excited to see what we have. Our next matchup, Lunar Synergy versus Augustana. We'll be back after just a few minutes while we get that game set up. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back very shortly.
Maybe what I'm feeling isn't real and the ceiling is falling as my voice is calling for that feeling again. Watch me try to understand, but I can't possibly know. You make me feel alive. You make my lungs feel right.
Welcome back, everybody, for match number 3 of tonight. Your Carthage Firebirds Smash Ultimate Team. Right now, last match of the night, we have Lunar Synergy to finish it off. Lunar Synergy versus Augustana Vikings. I'm your host, Bearded Man, and I'm joined by Bunny. How are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling a little sad that our Firebirds haven't pulled through these past matches. I know we have some talented people, so I'm excited to see how this game goes with Will.
Very true. I think Lunar Synergy definitely a force to be reckoned with. But I've also heard good things about Augustana, so I'm excited to see just what kind of match we're in for here. But we are going to jump into round number 1. Best of 5 series. I say that, just kidding. They are still setting it up a little bit further. But best of 5 series, first to 3 in a sense. Matches number 1 and 2 just not working out for the Firebirds, going 0-3 both rounds. But I'm excited. I'm hoping Lunar Synergy pulls through. We are seeing Lucina versus Byleth in round 1. Definitely going to be kind of a similar matchup. They look visually similar.
Yeah.
But we do have Lunar Synergy playing a lot more of a ranged role, I believe, as opposed to Augustana, who's playing a little bit more of a close quarters, but they both have really good close quarters combat abilities here. Attacks, being close quarter attacks are just ultimately the best bet here. You know, ranged is good if you can keep that space, but because a lot of these matchups are so intense, it really just comes down to whoever can hit those combos better. But Lunar Synergy probably able to do enough to get these combos, and we did see putting one stock off the board for Augustana. Really good opening there. I think hitting these combos and making sure you're kind of playing that side. That is something we saw earlier. Making sure that if you jump off the side, you can guarantee you'll be back.
Yeah, Lunar Synergy played that one really well, and Augustana ended up getting the short end of the edge there and falling off.
Definitely. Now, I think Lunar Synergy hitting that grapple ability onto the side of the arena is really good. I'm really, I do enjoy that, and it is definitely working out for Lunar Synergy there. But Augustana finally able to doing a lot of damage, but Lunar Synergy was able to kind of hang in there until one final attack, knocking him off the battlefield. Once again, we're seeing just that edge play. That is something I've noticed just last week, this week from all of our competitors. That edge play is just really coming down to the wire.
Yeah, it can definitely be a great strat, and with that grapple, like, the plays there could probably be endless.
Definitely. I'm excited. I'm happy to see just a lot more of an even match. You know, the previous ones were even at the last second, but this one seems to be starting off and continuing to be a lot more, I wouldn't say consistent, just a lot more aggressive and even. Where I'm not expecting any sort of comeback needed here. It's just going to be remaining pretty steady for these flurry of attacks, but Will is able, Lunar Synergy, using that ranged bow ability to do some long distance damage. And that's what I was saying earlier. You know, if you have that mix of heavy close quarters while also being able to do some very impressive ranged attacks, allows you to do attacks just like that, where you're on the other side of the arena after just knocking them back, and you can kind of finish them off, you know, add a little bit of a cherry on top to that attack. And Augustana, unfortunately, evening it out. It is 1-1 here. The life count is even across the board, and I was not expecting this. I'm happy to see it.
Yeah.
It makes my life more interesting when we have such an even matchup here, such a close matchup.
Yeah, they're putting up a great fight. We're definitely seeing some interesting ability usage, and Augustana recovers.
Yeah. Now, this is it though. When you're knocking them off the edge time after time, it might work out in your favor. We did see Augustana kind of losing some time there, losing some ground. Will kind of asserting dominance there and knocking them around. More and more damage being done. Those sword swipes are really working out in favor of Will. I think the speed, agility, versatility that we're seeing from his pick is really working out in his favor. Will we see the finishing blow very soon? It seems like they're close, and that is exactly what is going to happen. Lunar Synergy taking round 1. What a match. That was, or not, what a round, I should say. That was phenomenal to see, unlike anything we saw previously tonight. What were your thoughts on it?
I think the Byleth pick, there's a little bit more variability, variation, I should say, in the type of attacks. You know, you have the range, and it's mostly a melee on melee fight. But I think the pick there was just really good against Lucina.
Now, if you were Lunar Synergy, would you switch it up here?
I feel like it's almost a mind game, right? Because Augustana could choose someone else here, but honestly, that pick, he was doing a lot with those combos. The grapple is a great tool to have.
It really works out.
So I think he's gonna stay. I think he's gonna stay
too. You know, we always say if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I think for an outcome like that, you definitely don't want to switch it up. You did have that chance, though, of wanting to switch it up and kind of causing some issues. You know, your opponent not knowing who to expect. But with this this consistency of the lineup, I'm curious how the outcome will be. If we'll see a greater margin from Lunar Synergy or something a little bit closer, or maybe just some issues. You know, maybe Augustana comes back and wins this one. Will they switch up afterwards? But hard to say. Right off the bat, though, Augustana getting a lot of damage into Lunar Synergy, but Lunar Synergy able to just make sure that they receive that damage back. More and more attacks going out. We're seeing Augustana knocking them around. I couldn't see who was who at that point. It was hard to see because their nameplates disappeared. But it's I'm definitely seeing a much more even match. Augustana, however, getting some really good attacks there, and there's that grappling back into the arena, making sure that it is not over. You are not getting an attack there. Parry, beautiful parry there from Lunar Synergy, making sure that all that damage is just not going to be an issue there. But Augustana it's just getting that margin more and more. Lunar Synergy is able to grapple back into the arena, but because that life bar or that damage counter is so high, one of these attacks is just going to take Lunar Synergy out of the map and just not be a good time for him. I don't know what to expect here, though, because we're seeing Lunar Synergy still in the fight. 185 on that damage counter. The larger it is, the higher chance you are that you're going to be knocked out of the arena in one good hit. And Augustana that number's not changing for Augustana. Staying as steady as he can be. But fortunately, Lunar Synergy getting some more hits there. Knocking around, but Augustana is able to knock him out of the arena, knocking his life pool down to 2. Augustana still at that 3 life count. What to expect here? What do you think is going through his mind right now?
Augustana is definitely getting more of a feel for the abilities and the attacks and how Lunar Synergy is playing. So Lunar Synergy is going to have to get a bit more creative with this, I think.
Definitely. Now we are seeing more and more attacks going on to Augustana. Their damage counter was remaining there, if not increasing. But now that Augustana being knocked out there, 2 lives remain for both competitors. And Lunar Synergy is able to even it out just ever so slightly. And those flurry of attacks, those vertical plays, really working out. Causing a lot of issues for Augustana. Knocking them back and forth. The shield play, though, still coming in. Still very important and still helping both players helping them a ton. You know, being able to block all that healing, or all that damage, I should say, immediately without any sort of concern. Love to see it. Love to see it. That great timing there. We did see, oh my gosh, Lunar Synergy getting a massive flurry of attacks in quick succession on Augustana. Now leading the fight. Lunar Synergy having an advantage, just a slight advantage, but an advantage nonetheless. Augustana getting knocked, kind of almost falling out of the arena, falling off the ground, I should say, the platform, but is able to come back into the fight. Lunar Synergy, though, is not going to let that happen for much longer and is getting one massive attack, knocking Augustana out of the arena. Lunar Synergy now leading in terms of lives, having 2 lives left, as Augustana having 1. Lunar Synergy is just one great knockout away from another 1 round. I'm expecting to see a lot of fun times here as we do see Lunar Synergy laying even more combos into Augustana. That grapple ability really coming in handy, able to come back, making sure that he's not going to fall off of that map more and more. They're kind of teasing each other. They're trying to taunt them almost.
Yeah, they're using that edge play very well.
Definitely. Now, unfortunately, Lunar Synergy knocked out of the arena. Augustana was able to get a really good hit and evening it out 1-1. It is now the next elimination, winning it all. I'm curious what we're going to see here. I mean, we're seeing a lot slower play here from both competitors. Lunar Synergy kind of making sure to take it slow, not diving in head first, not worrying about, getting up close and personal, is able to take it kind of slow, allow him to cut to it. But Lunar Synergy getting a critical hit there, knocking Augustana out of the map, knocking off that last life, and winning this round, round 2. Now, Lunar Synergy does have another round to win. Augustana still could come back. What do you think is going to happen here?
We saw in that last round that they both slowed down and started playing a lot more strategically. I'm wondering if we'll see a switch in character from Augustana. These characters are pretty similar in some ways, but it seems that Lucina's abilities are just kind of Byleth's abilities are kind of like taking over, so a character switch might be interesting here.
I think for here, at this point too, Lunar Synergy might want to consider switching it up because, there is that, they are able to pull it off. They are able to get that victory, but you are really, those margins are really shrinking. The Augustana player is getting really accustomed to Byleth, and I think you got to have that mystery in a sense. You got to have that pizzazz almost. Yeah, spicing it up a bit.
There was definitely some counters coming up, and I especially saw that the grapple, Augustana was finding ways to play around that, and so I agree. I think a switch up for Lunar Synergy might be good here as well.
Oh yeah, but it looks like there's going to be no switch there in terms of heroes. There is going to be a slight switch on the map onto quite a beautiful map. You can't complain. I'm not complaining in the slightest. It is such a gorgeous map. I believe it's called Hollow Heart. Hollow Bastion, my bad. But Firebirds right off the bat, round 3, Lunar Synergy putting a ton of damage into Augustana, knocking them almost off the site, but Augustana was able to come back onto that platform. Now, more and more attacks being unleashed by Lunar Synergy, making sure to have a great time here. We're seeing a lot more edge play, though. I mean, we just saw there the players attacking each other midair while the platform was above them. They were below the platform, attacking each other, trying to, maybe try and add a lot more pressure there. But it's not enough for Augustana, and Lunar Synergy was able to take them out of the fight once and for all after a little bit of a delay there. But we are going to see Lunar Synergy probably using that more and more attacks. Some beautiful combos there, making sure that they knock Augustana out of the map again, despite this is unlike anything we saw the previous 2 rounds. A lot more dominance from Lunar Synergy. I'm not quite sure if it's just kind of more of a warm up. They're not needing to warm up anymore. They're at their peak capacity, but maybe it's just kind of Lucina's just not working out, and they're really kind of struggling here. They're kind of scrambling for some sort of maneuver to really give them the upper hand. Lunar Synergy almost knocked off of the map, but Augustana was not able to get that finishing touch, and that grapple once again just securing some safety onto that platform, making sure that Will is not going to have any sort of issue here. Lunar Synergy more and more dominant in this map. I don't know if it's the scenery change. Unfortunately, as I say that, Augustana knocking Lunar Synergy out of the fight, but the margin is still insane here. I think Lunar Synergy just one good hit away from knocking Augustana onto their last life. What do you think is going through Augustana's player right now? What does you think is going through their head, I should say?
I think that they're going to have to make some quick decisions because Lunar Synergy is getting some great hits here. Again, getting the KO on Augustana.
Yeah, the knockout is just extraordinary here. Seeing it time and time again. I'm loving these. I think the Byleth pick was what worked. I think it's these versatility, the different types of attacks you can do. You can do really strong attacks, you can do really quick attacks, and ultimately it's working out, having that variety. Whereas, I don't know, Lucina might not be the move. It might not be what you want here, but at this point it is way too late to switch.
Yep.
And might be something that they're going to have to learn in the future. Ultimately, though, I'm loving to see just how dominant Lunar Synergy is in this arena right now. You know, not letting any sort of attacks get to him. It's not a, you know, we don't see any sort of like scrambling here. We're seeing consistent attack after attack, proving that dominance in the arena, proving that it's just ultimately going to work out in their favor. Now, the shield attack, though, definitely coming in handy. We're seeing them kind of fake each other out and catching each other off guard with those shields. Lunar Synergy getting a massive hit, I should say, off into the sides of the arena, and more damage being done by both players. Though, will we see Lunar Synergy? We did see Lunar Synergy. I was about to say, Lunar Synergy getting knocked out of the arena. It is now 1 life to 1 life. I'd be a little bit concerned here if I were Lunar Synergy. You know, you have a really good hit. You're like 1 really good hit away from knocking them out, but if you misplay it in any way, you are out. You are out of here, and you're going to have to go into a round number 4. But Lunar Synergy, once again, trying their best to come back into the arena. It's kind of funny. Augustana knocking him off, and then he comes back in, knocking him off, coming back in. But that grapple, you know, you can't be mad. And 1 really good hit, and Lunar Synergy is going to take this round. Overall, a very amazing performance in all 3 of these rounds. You know, some of it was a little bit close at times, a little bit worrying, but he was able to come back with no issues. Always great to see. Great series of matches tonight, despite Lunar Synergy being the only one to take home a win. I think both players, Raymond the Goat and Space Food, having some really good competition, allowing them to perform as well as they can. They now have this footage to look back on and kind of tinker where they need it. What did you think?
For sure. We saw a lot of great players tonight that were really getting a feel for how each other's play and their play style. Definitely a lot of talent all around in some close matchups, but I'm glad Lunar Synergy took that win at the end.
Oh yeah, I am really excited to see, you know, these players progress throughout the season. Ultimately, great night of matches here, but we are unfortunately done for tonight. We will be back on Tuesday as the 1-1 Rainbow Six team takes on the University of Texas at Dallas at 8 p.m. Central Time. Live here, right on this Twitch channel. Be sure to follow us on all of the social medias at Carthage Esports. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope to see you back on Tuesday.
Behind Wheaton shoves that right over to the Lions half. Looks like this one's going in. Oh, you're kidding me. Donut, Donut, we're behind. We're going to see the barrage. The barrage.
Oh my gosh, Nico is just dominating right now.
What a play.
That's disgusting.
Oh my gosh.
That was disgusting.